means that at least in 11 out of the 13 of your provinces or territories, they're going to have to travel to Alberta to buy American wine because, these provinces have indicated, even though you've got the best deal in the world, they are not going to move on tariffs on, American alcohol, the banning of those products until there is a wholesale deal. So some of the things that are real irritants to the U.S. are going to be in place throughout the negotiating process.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
We have the 19th and current Premier of Alberta, Honorable Danielle Smith, joining us, together with the U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. I'm so thrilled to have them join us today, and I really want to thank you. Ambassador, what is it that you're doing in Calgary today?
Well, what we've done is we've spent, we'll spend about 3 days meeting with business people, meeting with people from the embassy and all of those types of things. A good example is what we did on the first day. We landed at, the Calgary airport. I met with our pre-clearance people, and they're saying, yes, transportation or the number of people coming through, our post is going up. There's strong travel between Calgary and the United States of America. We need more people. It's kind of like, that's a great way to start the day. We drive into Calgary, and what do I see? I see a bunch of construction cranes. I come out of the office furniture business. We loved towns with construction cranes because it meant that in about 18 to 24 months, those office buildings that were now under construction were going to be buying office furniture because people were going to be moving in. I then met with a bunch of business people and political leaders from the Albertan government. They're talking about, Pete, we're expanding, we're growing, we're looking for international markets, but we're also looking to expand our strong relationship with the United States. And, again, that's a sound business strategy. They're treating American leadership with respect. They're growing. We then go out to Banff. Wow, what a beautiful part of the world. We've been to Banff before. It's awesome. Another strong characteristic of what you have here in Alberta. And then in Alberta, we can end the day with a glass of American wine. So, it was all positive. It was great. So those are the kinds of things that we're doing. We're looking for ways to create prosperity and wealth for Americans, American businesses, but also with our partners, our friends in Alberta.
Wow, that's great. So Premier, tell us, how important is it to have the U.S. ambassador here on the ground in Alberta?
Well, it's really amazing. I mean, I have an envoy in Ottawa, James Carpenter, who's been there building relationships for some time. And I've just been so delighted that he was able to persuade the ambassador to come for a 3-day visit to Alberta and also go up and see our oil sands operations. Now, I know the ambassador is no stranger to big installations like that, but that is where it all begins for our relationship with the United States. He got to see where 4 million barrels a day of oil is produced, most of which destined for U.S. refineries to be able to be value added by U.S. companies and to be able to keep prices low for American consumers. And my view is we want to enrich and enhance that relationship. I'd love to see another couple million barrels of oil per day going down to the U.S. Because I know that the ambassador has spoken about this, as has the U.S. president, about the need for energy, not just energy security, but global energy dominance. I think that North America can do that with Alberta providing the backbone. We also know that with the AI data centers coming on, our natural gas stream is going to be increasingly important as well. So I've always tried to look for ways that we can find the common ground. And Alberta and the United States has so much common ground. We've got a trade relationship that's $188 billion just from our province to various U.S. states, whether it's on our oil and gas, whether it's on manufactured equipment, whether it's on food, forestry. We think that this is a relationship that's grown over the years, and it's only going to get stronger. So I'm glad that the ambassador was able to see all of that.
Yeah. And Ambassador, you said the oil sands tour was good. What is your takeaway from that operation, and what do you think the role that it could play is for U.S. energy needs?
Well, I mean, when you're up there, what you clearly see is the deep level of cooperation between Canadian businesses, Canadian workers, and American businesses and American investment. And it's bringing prosperity to both the province and to the United States of America. That's what relationships are kind of built on. And it was very, very impressive. There's new technologies that are being introduced because of that type of cooperation, not only on extracting the oil, but doing it more effectively, doing it more efficiently, and doing it more environmentally friendly. Technology and solutions that can be used on the north side of the border that can also be, implemented on the south side of the border. And, it's awesome. But, the other thing, Premier, next time I come, you got to expose me to more of your high-tech sector, because I think in the introduction at the Banff Global Conference on Thursday, you talked about, not only what you're doing in the extraction business, but also what's happening with high tech. And I think, again, that's another future area where there's immense room for cooperation and development and investment.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. One of the things I mentioned is that even though we are, of course, a strong oil and gas economy, in 2024, we had 154,000 direct workers in oil and gas, but 195,000 in technology. And there's a perfect marriage there. The technology sector is applying their know-how to being able to develop our traditional resource economy in a more sustainable way, get more value, more production out of it, apply new tools and techniques. So by all means, we're really hoping to be able to attract a big American company to build the AI data center here. So as soon as we do that, maybe we can show you the groundbreaking if we're successful on that.
And maybe we'll get you back on the show.
Yeah.
So Ambassador, I want to get to trade and tariffs and CUSMA and all that. But before we do that, I was actually hoping to talk to you a little bit about Premier Smith. So in this, second Trump administration era, the Premier's approach to U.S. diplomacy has been a little bit different than the other provinces and the other premiers. Some critics say she might be a little too comfortable down in Mar-a-Lago or in Washington. Just wonder if you could speak to that. How has Premier Smith's approach to diplomacy been working, and what do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean, I came out of the political world as well, being a congressman for 18 years. At that point in time, I'm representing about 700,000 people. What are you focused on? Obviously, I was on the Intelligence Committee, so I'm focusing on national security issues for us on a national basis. But as a congressman, I'm focused purely on business. How are you bringing prosperity and investment to West Michigan? And it's very much a business approach. Danielle has, the Premier has she has developed her approach to bring prosperity to the people of Alberta. And it's hard-nosed business. It's kind of like, if I can make a deal and it's going to bring prosperity, jobs, and wealth to the people of Alberta, I'm going to look at making that deal. And I'm going to do it respectfully. I'm going to negotiate tough. And so it's good for the people of Alberta. And I very, very much recognize that, and I appreciate it. There are other provinces and premiers that have taken a different approach. We'll see what works. At the end of the day, they're the ones that are elected by the people of Canada to bring prosperity to their provinces and to govern their provinces, and being friendly and respectful to your largest customer, your largest trading partner, someone who you sell a lot of stuff to. But the other thing that you see, there's a tremendous amount of investment from the United States coming into Alberta. And if you're going to be friendly and respectful and try to grow that, I think that's from my perspective, that's a positive way to go.
Premier, you're here today as a pair. Do you want to speak to the listeners about how things are going? Is there maybe some progress on the relationship between Alberta and Washington, or are you working on a deal?
Well, the ambassador knows that I'd love to see an all of Canada deal. I know where the pressure points are on autos, on steel, on aluminum, certainly on softwood lumber. Those first three impact our friends in Eastern Canada more than they do here, although we do have a steel business of about 3,000 workers who are impacted by the steel tariffs. Softwood lumber is just up with our forestry workers up north. And we can very much make the same argument, I think, on forestry as we do on energy, that we all want to have affordable houses. And to have affordable houses, you need to have affordable building materials. And so I would hope at some point we'd be able to have a special conversation about how we can resolve that thorny issue. It didn't start with this administration. It goes all the way back to 2015. But I think that there's a need for a reset on discussing how we get to the finish line on figuring out a trade relationship that's going to be sustainable on that. But look, I mean, here's the reality. The U.S. president implemented tariffs in a way that gave CUSMA compliant or USMCA compliant goods. He honored the trade agreement, and that has really benefited Alberta. We only had 3% of our total production that is subject to tariffs. And so when you look at around the world, having a 97% tariff-free relationship with the United States of America, the biggest economy in the world, is a pretty good deal. And so we want to make sure that we can maintain those the sort of the principles of that agreement, so that we can not only grow that relationship, but also see it enhanced as well for our friends across the country. So that's where I find ourselves, is that I think that we've had some really good advocates for us in the United States with the American Petroleum Institute, with the American fuels and petrochemical industry as well. Many of those recipients of Alberta oil understand that in some cases they're getting 100% of their product from us, and their refineries are tooled specifically to receive our particular brand of heavy oil. And so being able to have friends and champions in the United States able to make that case on our behalf has been, I think, really successful in helping us to enjoy such a large tariff-free relationship. So I don't know where the CUSMA discussions are going to go. It seems to me that we'd all hope that we'd be able to have an agreement early at the beginning of summer. I'm now hearing more like 9 to 10 months. And that's unfortunate because it creates that uncertainty. As the ambassador said, I think that there's a lot of money waiting to see where to invest, but they need to know what the rules of the game are. And I really am sincerely hopeful that we don't delay that, because the longer we delay it, we have a shorter runway. I know the American the election cycle. They have midterms next year, and then they go already into primary season. It seems like the Americans are constantly in elections. We'd love to be able to advance a few important projects before some of the elections start interfering with that. We've seen what happens when there's a change in the White House. We had when the president was in first, we had an agreement on the Keystone XL pipeline. We were well on our way building it, had built the pipe across the border. And then when the U.S. presidency changed to Joe Biden, he canceled that permit within minutes of getting into office, and it threw our relationship into turmoil. I've seen that the U.S. president is interested in a reboot of that concept, and we absolutely are too. And so it would be nice to have that discussion in the context of a broad agreement with the United States. But I think that we can continue to start having those discussions anyway, because I think that the case for why we need to have an integrated energy economy in North America is so strong. But there's no question it'd be a lot easier if we had a settlement on the trade agreement.
Ambassador, any progress that you can report to our audience? Is the deal getting closer? Let us know how that's going.
Well, then the Premier has pointed out that, the comment period for, in both of our countries, for the public and businesses to reflect on how effective USMCA CUSMA has been, has kicked off now in both countries, which indicates that it appears the leadership, the negotiators are saying, the opportunity for a quick major deal, we've moved on to the next stage. It's going to be a long process of negotiation, of going through it, page by page, product by product, tariff level by tariff level. That's going to take a period of time. And that puts, I think the target date is to have those negotiations done by the summer of 2026. The governments are probably on both sides of the border are probably pretty well known, maybe to miss those kinds of targets. But the other thing that the premier pointed out, that puts it smack dab in the middle of our midterm election, which will be in November of 26. So for an agreement like that, it has to be validated and confirmed by the U.S. Senate, and it's going to be hard to do that in an election season. So to get resolution on this, it could easily, if that's the path that we go down, it would not be unrealistic to see that pushed off into 2027, which means that at least in 11 out of the 13 of your provinces or territories, they're going to have to travel to Alberta to buy American wine, because, these provinces have indicated, even though you've got the best deal in the world, they are not going to move on tariffs on, American alcohol, the banning of those products until there is a wholesale deal. So some of the things that are real irritants to the U.S. are going to be in place throughout the negotiating process, and they will be in place until the agreement is ratified, which could be, a year and a half.
So Ambassador, you're referencing a little bit to some of the disappointment that you've expressed in the past with, a little bit of anti-American sentiment that you found, some of the things about the alcohol. I think it is worth pointing out that some Canadians do feel a little bit differently than they used to feel about our American friends. What would you say to Albertans and to Canadians who are saying that some of that is a response to, some of the comments that came from the administration?
Wouldn't deny it. Okay. But the beauty of this, of being in Alberta, is it's kind of like, some people may be offended, whatever. But hey, we're focused on business. Okay. We're focused on how we create jobs and prosperity for Albertans, and how we do that in a way that benefits Albertans and makes a good deal for the United States. We are forward, future-looking, and we're really not that interested in litigating some issues which may be emotional. I recognize that, hey, I spent years in politics, okay? So, I understand how that works. And, in Alberta, it appears that, your government and your business people, they may recognize that and say, okay, that's the reality. That's the reality I work in, okay? That in certain parts of Canada, the anti-American sentiment is greater than what I would like it to be. I am passionate about, this relationship and where it can go in the future, and I'm doing everything that I can to make that vision of the future become a reality, because I think it's very, very beneficial to Canadians and Americans. And if there are Canadians that have a different path to the future, or they see the future differently, that's their business. Okay. I can try to influence and change it, but I just factor that in as part of the reality that I have to work with. I don't make a value judgment on it. I just recognize, what exists.
So it would appear to me that Premier Danielle Smith has better negotiating skills with the Americans than our Prime Minister, our failure, Mark Carney. Where's the negotiations? So many broken promises. Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe. Get your Canadian federal politics right here. Catch you in the next one.